Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we'll return with round 3 of season 4 of the F124 driver career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here in the land down under for the Australian Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live on Saturday from Jeddah, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Safe to say, the opening couple of races this season have been rather interesting, but still, there are a lot of question marks being raised about some of our rivals' performance. Most notably, Aston Martin. For whatever reason so far this season, well, I know why, neither race so far has gone particularly well for them so far, so we don't really know how quick the team in green is at this early stage of the campaign. Looks like a few upgrades, though, have been rolling onto different cars this weekend, so I think Ferrari, we are now best of everybody again, ahead of Red Bull and McLaren there. Championship-wise, well, we're top of the board there as well. Leclerc and I each with one win to kickstart the campaign. Means that we've already got a 16-point lead over Oscar Piastri in third there. Brutal consistency by the Australian. Will he be able to get a podium or even a win this weekend as he returns back home? Of course, if you're new around here as well, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed to the channel. We're trying to hit 140,000 subs here at the moment. And yeah, let's head then here to Albert Park, the scene of my first ever victory for Ferrari last year. Can we do it again?
Hello everyone, it is time for qualifying at one of our very favourite stops on the calendar. It's Albert Park and we're about to take the cars right up to the edge.
Well, I mentioned it last weekend, but this might now be where McLaren's season really starts to showcase the pace of the car. Lando Norris fastest in Q1. George Russell not far behind his teammate either, and I mean, you can make the argument, probably either them or us have the strongest lineup on the grid right now. I mean, Oscar Piastri and Lewis Hamilton on their day both can absolutely fight. And I feel like, yeah, we've probably got 4 of the top 5 or 6 drivers inside this game at the moment across those two teams. Obviously, Max Verstappen, you can never count him out either, though. So as we head out into Q2, the car feeling pretty good, though. I think it is just Bahrain being a bit of a bogey track for us. I don't think we need to worry about getting knocked out in Q2 very often. I mean, the level of grit these cars have, we're going to see times in towards the 1-minute 14s here by the end of qualifying, which seems absolutely ridiculous. So much straight line speed in these cars right now. As at the final corner, it's a 15.04. You can see we end up in P4 there. As, yeah, 14s have occurred. I think Leclerc and Verstappen. There we go, Max Verstappen unhappy with how the Jeddah weekend ended for him. He has put down a gauntlet here in Q2, a 14.6. We only managed a 15.0, but I feel like there's a little bit more pace in the car. Shoutouts to Carlos Sainz as well. They're getting that V-Carb car inside the top 10. Lewis Hamilton there, kind of the big team driver that gets knocked out in Q2. I hate to say it, I think it's time he calls it quits in this series. Well, there we go then. First run here in Q3. There's not a lot you can get right around this circuit, but there's also no room for error either. It is brutal, it is high speed. It almost feels old school Albert Park, where it is, you know, either tarmac or grass. You know, it's not like one of these modern Formula 1 circuits with runoff areas absolutely everywhere. But yeah, Max Verstappen on a 1:14.6 in Q2. That is the time we're chasing. So we're going to see times continue to ramp up towards the end of Q3. So we just run it a tiny bit wide on a 1:15.0. Only good enough for P6. So as we make our way through the final couple of corners. Oh, just about kept it out the wall. I'll try and finish the lap just to make sure that we get a delta time down. But huge error there. Lucky not to completely write the car off or not hit anything. To be completely honest, as there goes a 1:15, it's going to be an 18.0. We still went quicker than someone, somehow. Well, Max Verstappen then has lowered that benchmark, a 1:14.4. And I think, yeah, Carlos Sainz unable to do another run, but the Dutchman, I'll be staggered if he finds any more time over that. But this is Max. He is the driver that can push the limits, can push the bounds of what you think is possible inside this game. Oh, as we try and do the same thing through turn 1 there, absolutely sent it, full commitment. Lack a little bit of straight line speed on the exit, and it didn't really work for us. Just trying to shut the car down in towards turn 3. Albert Park has really been a circuit I've had to learn inside F124. Yeah, I mean, we're already on the run, Mark, so I don't know what you're talking about. As we try and shut the car in through the exit of Sector 1. Quarter of a second up at the moment. That's not bad going. And hopefully we'll find a little bit more time as well through the second half of the lap. We were about 3/10 down on Verstappen by the end of Sector 2. Make that half a second. How on earth has the Dutchman done a 1:14.2 here? As I mean, we are going to continue to try and push just to find every last little bit we can in our car. Even if we can't try and challenge Max, at least get ourselves up the order. So I do not need to be starting this race from all the way down in P10. Avoid that curb on the inside there. Still able to take it completely flat out. We need, what, about 4 seconds over the delta, and I tell you what, we've almost found that. This could be really close as we make our way up towards the start-finish line. Will it be good enough for pole position? I think it is. I think we've done a 14-1. How? How on earth have I managed that? Well, it is very rare that we beat Charles Leclerc in a qualifying session. It's even rarer to dunk 6/10 on him, especially when you consider how good he is over one lap. McLaren are here to fight, though, this weekend. They'll lock out the second row of the grid. Norris ahead of Russell. But we, for the second time this season, start from pole. Safe to say the one-lap pace is back and Bahrain was just a bogey track.
Few places embrace Formula One like Melbourne. It is a truly brilliant sentence to say. Welcome to the Australian Grand Prix. It's Albert Park Circuit, 3.2 miles of bumpy city streets. We have changed the turns at 1, 3, 6 and 13. They have all been widened. We've got rid of the chicane at 9 and 10. That is now a flat-out right-hander. It's a new look that made its debut in 2022. New life into an old classic. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Firestarter lines up on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Norris, Russell, Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, Perez, Stroll, Oscar Piastri, Sainz, Hamilton, Behrman, Gasly, Joe, Ocon, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Hulkenberg, Vesti, and Alex Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Here we are then, down on the grid, ready for the Australian Grand Prix. And for the second time in a row, we've got a nice clean open road in towards that first corner. Of course, Albert Park, Australia. This place can be complete chaos down at Turn 1. I'm really hoping we don't channel our inner, I think it was 2002, I want to say. When, yeah, Rubens Barrichello found that Ralf Schumacher went over the top of him in towards that first corner. We've got Verstappen alongside us, though. So there's every possibility that that might happen as well. Waiting on the grid for the 5 red lights here in Albert Park. It's going to be lights out, and away we go. They're trying to get off to that start line nicely. We haven't done a good job. Lando Norris will say thank you very much and immediately swoop through into the lead of the Grand Prix. We're going to get a little bit bullied by George Russell on the exit of the corner as well. So we've ended up with our teammate Charles Leclerc. But yeah, Lando Norris hasn't really been much to talk about so far this season. But immediately jumping up into the lead then of the GP, ahead of Verstappen and George Russell. Are McLaren well and truly back this weekend? Only time will tell as we head into the GP there. But yeah, not our best start in the world. All the way down to P4, but we've kept it out of trouble. We haven't done too much damage. We know how good this car still is, you know, where it's strong as well. If we can keep Leclerc at bay early laps as well, he might struggle to carve his way through. And, you know, as again proven in Jeddah, we aren't friends anymore. Well, I don't think Verstappen's going to sit behind Lando Norris for very long in this Grand Prix, and I don't think we can do the same with George Russell. As you can see, Verstappen swoops to the inside there, gives himself the shorter run down the back straight. I mean, Russell, though, to be fair to him, that McLaren's looking pretty good in the straight line here. And we're trying to look around the outside. We have both got the DRS. As Georgia goes slightly early on the brakes, well, just so I get round him. So clearly, yeah, I wonder if the McLaren drivers have been told, you know, we've got good pace, just focus on where you're at towards the end of the afternoon. So back up into the podium. Oh, this is good to see. Lando Norris, he's not going to back out of it against Max. Oh, he might have to, though, when he gets faced with the wall. As, yeah, Lando Norris clearly doesn't want to lose this lead line down. I mean, already this season, how many drivers have we seen with shots at the front? Reminder, there were only 5 different winners last season. I reckon that could be broken within about the first 7 races this campaign. That's my bold call. Oh, is Lando Norris going to meet the same fate again? This time around, he'll get fully around the outside of Verstappen. And I mean, these two, they've had a lot of history, haven't they, in recent times? Verstappen kind of left a bit vulnerable on the exit, and we will fly past the Dutchman and up then into P2. So, for whatever reason, it seems to be in this series, if you lose the lead, you always end up in P3. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, Lando, I was just worried he was going to slam the door on me there. Try to have a look down the inside as me. Verstappen wants to get back in front.
Use that overtake button a bit more.
I think Verstappen knows he needs to try and beat the Ferraris early on in this campaign. So I've got no idea what's going on with Leclerc. He is really dropping back. I haven't been told of any technical gremlins for our teammate, but yeah, that gap's up to 3.5 seconds. Maybe he just lost the DRS now and he's kind of stuck in that train. Either way, yeah, he just does not have the pace today. Oh, here we go this time round. This time, surely we'll go clean around the outside of Lando Norris.
Easy. Nice work. That's why I love working with you. Smashed it.
Well, as Mark's trying to hype me up, we almost go and bin it off of the corner there. Round the outside of Lando will still be then. So this one wasn't as simple as I thought. Oh, he tried to really cut down in on me there through the penultimate corner. And look at this. That's opened up the door for Verstappen to try and get back past us as well there. The Dutchman, he'll have some DRS back down towards turn 1, but it looks like we might have the legs on him. We'll try and cut back around the outside, and we will just make it through on the Dutchman, who loses the place to Russell as well. Hectic stuff early on. But yeah, the gap, I don't think Leclerc's got damaged, because he has closed back in a little bit that lap, as we might now get the jump on those two behind us. Third time's a charm then, surely. Around the outside of Lando Norris again, we're going to go. I mean, these opening 3 Grand Prix just open it up for great wheel-to-wheel racing, don't they? Can we go the long way around this time? We'll try and get a little bit more aggressive with him. We'll still give him an avenue back around the outside there, but we will finally move back up into the lead of the Grand Prix properly. A little bit of oversteer through that penultimate corner as well, but, I mean, again, it seems to be the case early on that the races are absolutely insane in this series right now. As right on the outside of Lando will hang on through turn 1. It's kind of in the second half, everything calms down a bit. The opening laps are wild. Well, if Lando wants to go for it down this back straight, he's going to have to go the long way around, which he thinks about it, backs out, thinks about it, backs out. That time around he does decide to go for it. Side by side, in through the S's. And we're just going to get squeezed out over the curbing. Hopefully we won't get collected there as loads of cars roll by. And a scary, scary spin in front of the entire field early on in this race. We have picked up a little bit of damage. Luckily, it doesn't look like the tyres are too badly worn. But suddenly now, Leclerc back to P2. Norris has got a gap at the front of the field. I'm too busy watching the old the V-Carb sparring partners going at it. But we might need a new front wing when I decide to box here. You can just see how much more understeer we've got because of it. So try and get a run on the pair of them out of that final corner. 3 wide back down towards turn 1. Don't really fancy my chances there, to be honest. I feel like I was going to get squeezed out over that inside curve. As Sonoda, how on earth did he do that all the way around the outside? As we'll try and get the run on Gasly then off of the corner. I mean, now suddenly the goal today has very much changed. It is all about just trying a recovery drive there as around the outside of the Frenchman. Thank you very much. Well, just doing a lap or so with this damage. I think we're going to have to try and dive in for an early pit stop here. And maybe do a bit of damage limitation for the rest of the afternoon. Around the outside of Sonoda will go. And Alpine's got some legs on it in a straight line still. Oh, so we just nudge that curve again. Don't bottom out again and go for another spin. That would be really bad. So yeah, we're going to dive into the pit lane then at the end of this lap. It's not too early. But hopefully is, going to do some kind of limitation to how badly we're going to get undercut here. Going to mean the hard tyres have got their work cut out towards the end of the afternoon, but I think we should be able to survive. I mean, there's a big gaggle of cars a little bit further back, but yeah, we go then. First car into the pit lane this afternoon. We've got to go aggressive on pit lane entry, which we will, ish. But yeah, get a new wing on the car. Team everybody rushing out. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. It always feels like such a slow stop. 7.7's not bad.
That was a fantastic stop. Faster than we were expecting.
we go then. We're going to re-emerge to the circuit then all the way down in last place.
Strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
I guess the real question, yeah, is where are we going to end up once everybody else has pit, as that is not the line on the exit. Well, based on the gaps to Alex Albon in front, I think we've negated most of the time lost from having to change the front wing. But I don't think we'll have really undercut anyone just yet, unless we see some craziness in the pit lane. Verstappen, yeah, really does seem to have dropped back down the order, though, so not too sure what's happened to the Dutchman. Don't know if he picked up some front wing damage as well. There's Alex Albon into the pit lane then, so we're going to get ahead of quite a few cars here. We're going to be out racing with Ocon and Carlos Sainz. As there is Verstappen, I believe. Oh, as we just get a little bit caught up behind Sainz through turn 1. Got to try and get around the V-car, but I do not want to be stuck battling him. So a big late switch. Sainz clearly doesn't see me there. Luckily, it's only minimal contact. As round the outside will go. Let's have it. Pretty much every other car then into the pit lane. So I'm going to be interested to see whether Norris gets undercut by George Russell here, because they've let the second McLaren go first. Maybe just to try and take some of the pressure off him from the likes of Charles and Fernando behind. As there we go. Yep, Lando. Yeah, still going to be out way in front at the top of the order. Where are we going to re-emerge, though? Leclerc will come out in P4. We are going to be out in P8, so we've undercut pretty well.
You can play around with the RS modes in the MFD, or lift sometimes and ease onto the brake pedal for some manual recharge.
I mean, the timing of that for Max Verstappen has worked out beautifully. Perez there just gets out in front and slams the door on Lewis Hamilton. We will say thank you as well and move up immediately into P7. But yeah, Verstappen really struggling here. We're really struggling. There's a huge opportunity for Leclerc, or, you know, a McLaren, to claim a victory and maybe build up some points. Oh, why have we got yellows? Why have we got yellows out? Who's got issues? Are we seeing one of our top drivers having a mechanical? I think it might be Hamilton behind me. Yep, Hamilton out of the Grand Prix. So that's what, at least our second Mercedes power unit failure of the year.
0.8 seconds.
And just like we saw IRL, Lewis Hamilton out here in Albert Park. It does make me chuckle, the fact that despite everything that's happened to all three of us, still Verstappen, Leclerc and I have ended up near each other on the road. Looks like we got a little bit of pace over the pair of them. I think Leclerc now is inside the range of Alonso, so might still get a podium. I just want to try and get to Verstappen, although we are being hounded by Perez still. 4 DRS zones, around a lap. Really does help you stay close to the car in front. So here goes the Mexican, he'll fly back around me. I think he'll have the DRS down the next straight, won't he, as well? Yeah, I really don't want to sit behind the Mexican for too long either. Come on, use that battery, get on with it, sir. Well, I feel like there might be a little bit of backwards and forwards now between myself and Sergio, but if we can close up the gap on Verstappen, well, I'm not going to complain too much there. We just need to try and use him to slingshot ourselves into the range of his teammate, which I tell you what, with aggressive lines like that, we might just be able to do. Come on, let's try and get inside that 1 second zone. It's going to be mighty close with the Dutchman. Send it in towards these final few corners.
Pressure data is currently reading 0. Assuming they still look inflated to you, we're going to guess that it's just a bad sensor. Shouldn't be anything to worry about.
I hate that. I hate that radio message. I cannot stress this enough. I hear it every single Grand Prix. How something as simple as that hasn't been fixed. Oh, new fastest lap of the day. How something as simple as that hasn't been fixed inside F1 24, I will never know. But it annoys me probably more than it should. Oh, why have we got yellows? Oh, Verstappen! Max Verstappen! Out again! 2 of the first 3 Grand Prix the Dutchman is out of.
2.6 seconds.
And it was a good job I looked up at the right time then. I was trying to have a look at the mini-map to see which car it was going bang, but for the second weekend in a row, we've been right near a car that has gone up in smoke. And another mechanical failure for the Dutchman, but let's just think back. The last time Verstappen retired from Bahrain and Australia in a season, he went on to dominate it. Don't really care about that, Mark, I'll be honest, but yeah, Verstappen out of yet another Grand Prix. His bad season just gets even worse early on. He's having my kind of luck from last year. Well, laps are starting to run out here, and if we don't see Alonso, Russell and Leclerc start battling, I think we're in for a very lonely P5 finish to this race. would be rather alarmingly our worst result of the year so far. I'm taking a little bit of time out of them, but as they just keep slipstreaming each other, does make it very difficult to close in. That's what I want to see a bit more of. Tell you what, I've been sweating out trying to get this gap down towards the end of the afternoon. We are agonisingly close to that 1 second mark to Charles Leclerc there, but still they are battling in front. Still, Lando Norris is pulling away. Can't help but feel we have the pace for the win. Then again, I think it would be harsh to argue that Lando hasn't today. Didn't quite get the qualifying effort he would have wanted, but took the lead at turn 1. And has never really looked back, as still Leclerc, Alonso, Russell, nose to tail. Can we get a fourth nose involved in that? Well, for Fernando Alonso then, this is a huge opportunity to try and get Aston Martin back on track at the start of this season. The paces look really good, but they have not had any luck in the opening couple of rounds there. As here we go, Russell again tries to have a look down the inside of him, but can't make anything happen. That's going to leave the McLaren and the Ferrari there caught napping a little bit on the exit. Russell, though, he's not going to wait too long before he goes for it again there. The long way round. It's off. More damage.
Looking at the damage, and we think we should be okay to continue. It's going to cost us a little bit of time, but we're nearly at the end of the race.
Don't start getting really scrappy now. It's not over. But again, just a tiny bit of contact. You know, with Charles Leclerc, who kind of parks the bus on the exit through that section. It really is ruining our afternoon. Well, the team are worried about the damage then as Leclerc now goes... Whoa! Leclerc gets put in the wall! What on earth was that? Alonso! Normally the man with the most awareness in the world, but that time around he didn't spot Leclerc, or maybe thought, what happens, happens here. Obviously, we've had a huge crash with Alonso as well around this circuit, all the way back in Season 1, but Leclerc there just got slammed into that wall. How on earth our teammates' cars got no front wing damage from that, I will never know. But as Lando Norris crosses the start-finish line then to start the last lap of the Australian Grand Prix, Russell, his teammate, could we see an historic McLaren 1-2 here in Albert Park, Australia? I mean, this would be huge for the two drivers that, of course, have battled with each other for so many years. And Alonso, I think, has probably got more starts than the pair of them combined. Here we go again. Alonso trying to look around the outside. No room that time to do anything. Leclerc and I just waiting in the wings. Or will it be... I mean, it's definitely going to be the first non-Ferrari win of the year. And it looks like for the second year in a row, we're going to get 3 winners from the first 3 Grand Prix as well. Leclerc, though, desperately trying to hang on to Alonso in front of him. Can we try and do anything on this final lap to get ahead of our teammate and just claw a couple of extra points out of him in the championship? I don't think we've got enough battery here. As Alonso, he thinks about it, last moment ditch attempt down the inside of Russell. Not able to pull it off, though, as now Leclerc and I have both got the run on the pair of me. Here goes Alonso to the outside of George once more. Leclerc trying to make it happen as well. We're going to run into the back of our teammate. And there's more contact between myself and Leclerc. We lose even more of our wing. We got to get back on the road. And once again, frustration between the two Ferrari drivers. Lando Norris is going to take the win here in Australia. Returns to the top step for the first time since Abu Dhabi last season. Luckily for us, there were no cars close behind. We will hang on, to P5. We won't lose any positions. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Leclerc and I are not friends.
What a way to head to victory! Lando Norris takes the win!
What a wonderful drive to see them come from far down the grid to win the race. Those days are the ones that throw the biggest challenges at you, and to stick out and win it is an incredible job.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure. And no doubt they'll be celebrating tonight.
Well, there we are then. Lando Norris, third winner from the first 3 Grand Prix of the year. And for the first time, neither Ferrari or Max Verstappen on the podium. I can only assume since the end of Season 2 it would have been. Of course, we locked out all the podium. Well, at least I think Ferrari got a podium in every single race last season, with the exception of Abu Dhabi. That streak not staying alive anywhere near as long this year there, and we lose another point to our teammate and even more respect for him. Admittedly, that time round, I probably should have done a bit more to try and get on the brakes earlier there, but all of us vying for position right at the end. And unfortunately, it didn't really work out for either myself or Charles there. Russell only just loses the place to Alonso in the end. So safe to say Aston Martin are back as well here, with Stroll finishing in 6th, ahead of Sainz, Piastri, Perez, and Pierre Gasly again. Haas, they're just scoring points, left, right and centre. Early on this season as well. Their disappointment for both Verstappen and Hamilton, the two drivers that failed to finish the end of the real-life Grand Prix here, also failed to see the checkered flag in Season 4 of our career mode as well. And that means in terms of the championship, the gap at the top cut down to 4 points there. The top 3 now covered by just 9 points as we leave Albert Park. Russell up to 4th ahead of Stroll and Piastri. Alonso getting some decent points on the board. They're ahead of Verstappen and Sergio Perez. And Albon is ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Think of that whatever you will. Constructors-wise, Ferrari still with a lead, but McLaren have cut that one down. Aston Martin to P3 ahead of Mercedes. Red Bull still in 5th, ahead of Williams, VCarb, Haas, and Kick Sauber. Now Alpine, the only team yet to score so far in this campaign. But thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready in Japan.